little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day, it's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day.
Hello, happy Tuesday, my friends. I am so glad you're here. I know it's been a couple of weeks, maybe longer, since I've gone live, and I'm so glad to be back. And I'm really, really excited today that I am joined by a dear friend of mine. She is somebody that I can't remember how long ago we met, but I really admire her. I just think she is smart and talented and really interesting. When I think of the word adventure, I definitely think of her. So I want to introduce Tanya Bugbee. She is a seasoned business strategist with a decade of coaching experience under her belt. She's a certified coach through the International Coaching Federation and the Coactive Training Institute, and she stands as your dedicated guide to unlocking the full potential of your business. Prior to establishing her own coaching business, Tanya made her mark as one of the top 5 coaches at Buffini and Company. Beyond her coaching accolades, she boasts a history of entrepreneurial ventures, including ownership of a flight school, a successful restaurant, and a thriving real estate company in Houston. Currently, Tanya coaches realtors, lenders, brokers, an attorney, a major roofing company in Dallas, influential figures in the insurance industry, and executives in the Fortune 500 companies such as Wells Fargo. Tanya loves being a grandmother of a 2-year-old powerhouse and dividing her time up between Oregon and California. And her 4-legged companion, Charlie, enjoys the road trip between the 2 states. So, my friends, welcome with me, my friend Tanya Bugbee. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, now I'm blushing.
I love it. That was such a beautiful bio.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you are one of the coolest people I know. And I love how you have done so many cool things. Can you just give us like the highlights, the things that you know, like when you bring it up at a dinner party, people are like, ooh, tell me more.
Well, okay. Yay. And I hope my mom's not watching because this is not something she would agree with. When I was in high school, I wanted to be president of the United States. I applied to Georgetown University, got a full ride, and met a guy right around that time. And we decided to hop on a sailboat and sail around for 8 years. So I blew all that education off and hopped on a boat and lived on a sailboat for 8 years and loved most of it. I got seasick a lot. He was also a pilot. So when we moved off a boat because of children, and we did raise them until they were school age on the boat, we started a flight school. So I got, and it just took years, a couple years to get my pilot's license and my commercial license and my to teach flight school certification. And then we just went soaring on that, no pun intended. And that was amazing. Of course, there's a divorce in there and all of that. And I was a corporate trainer for Jenny Craig. And when I was single, I think what I'm most proud of is starting my own real estate business, raising 2 amazing daughters almost by myself, and thriving in real estate. And a lot of that is because of my coach. So there's still other roads that I didn't mention, but I think for me anyway, those were the major ones.
Okay, so I want to backtrack and really pick your brain to see if you remember time on the boat, right?
Yes.
When you talk about, what you were going to do and what you found yourself doing, raising toddlers on a boat. How in the world did you raise toddlers on a boat and keep them on the boat?
Lots of lines and life jackets and hooks that hook onto the life jacket. Yes, being very intentional with their safety and teaching them to swim and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it was easy to potty train them because we were living in the tropics. We were practically naked all the time anyway, so that part was easy. Yeah.
I love that. So I want to tell folks watching, we're not seeing any comments populate on this side. So if you are here watching, maybe you're just really quiet, or maybe you're commenting and we're just not seeing them. So please don't think we're ignoring you. Just know that we're not seeing them.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back. You lived on a boat, and then you traded boats for planes, and then how did you get into real estate? Like, how did that happen?
Well, again, that's probably my mother's fault and my sister's fault because they were both realtors. And so at one point, I just needed a little extra money. And my mom's like, okay, well, go be an assistant. You're really good. You're really organized. You've owned your own business. I mean, by now. So just go knock on some realtor's door and see if they need help, which was exactly what I did. And sorry about that. That was my watch. I thought I turned it off. And so I became her assistant. And about 2 months in, seeing what she's making and what she's doing to make that, I mean, she was making a lot of money, and I'm making minimum wage and maybe some bonuses with every close. I'm like, no way in heck am I going to keep doing this. So I went and got my real estate license and became my own real estate agent because I wanted, and I'm very competitive. But what I was making compared to what she was making, I knew I could do what she was doing.
Yeah.
I thought it was easier than it actually is. She made it look really easy.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't in the real estate world, who don't know what it takes, what does it take in
It takes tenacity. It's once you get the ball rolling, like I said, she made it look really easy, and we're still friends on Facebook, so it's cool. She made it look really easy because she was established. She had a phenomenal database. She had built a lot of relationships in the community, and so the referrals were just coming in. Right. So I'm thinking, oh, this is easy. Look at the referrals coming in. Right. I didn't really think about, okay, what does it start? To start that ball rolling, especially when I was new into Houston. So, my ex and we weren't exes when we first moved to Houston, but soon afterwards we became exes. So I'm new to town. I have my real estate license and I don't know anybody. So it takes building relationships, getting to know people, getting out of the closet to tell people that you're a realtor. Hi, Charlotte. Charlotte knows. She says, grit. Yes. Yes. And again, I'm going to plug my mom. This is the first time I think on any live I plugged my mom so much. When I was going through my divorce, she's like, okay, Tatiana, you come home, which is Northern California. And my daughters now I think they were about 13, 15, 12, 14, something like that. One's dancing, one's captain of the swim team. The other one's got, parts in the Nutcracker. They don't want to leave Houston at this point, right? She says, well, then you need a business coach. Like, okay. And so I got a business coach, and the rest is history. Yeah.
That is amazing to me. It's amazing to me that you invested in coaching quite a long time ago. Like, coaching wasn't really
Yes.
a thing back then.
No, it was not a thing back then. And so I totally dove in both feet. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. And I don't like putting things on my credit card that I can't pay off every month. So I just full paid the whole thing for the whole year because I didn't want to see it on my credit card every month. And I said, okay, next time, the first time I have a close or whatever it's going to take, I'll pay off my credit card. It was taking a leap of faith, and it was really scary. And it all worked out perfectly well, not without bumps and bruises. But when people say, Tanya, who's your hero? It's my first coach. Because I've had other coaches since, but she is by far my hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you remember learning in that first coaching experience?
I remember I'm so free-spirited, as you know, right? So one of the biggest things I had to rein in was being organized and planning my weeks and planning my days, writing out. I think that was probably, other than maybe a little bit when I was in middle school around journaling, but definitely now at that point, it was not so much. And I know you, and that's just what I love about you. It's there's no right or wrong way to journal. If it's bullet points, like for me, it's more like bullet pointing because I live here, I don't live here. So it it was being intentional, writing things out. Who do I want to be? What do I have to do? And organizing was the first thing. I mean, yes, I've owned other businesses, but I had a partner. This is the first time I'm single, having 2 kids and not wanting to change their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So there
So
was a
no
lot of
pressure there.
pressure. No pressure. No.
I want to pop this comment from Charlotte up, which says coaches take you from where you are to where you only dream
Dream
of
of
going.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautifully put, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Charlotte is a phenomenal lender. We went live a few weeks ago. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of major changes in the real estate industry because of lawsuits and stuff. So there's a lot of changes. And so Charlotte and I went live and talked about some of the changes in the real estate industry. And yes, I believe in coaching, and not because I am a coach. Well, that's part of it. I'm not going to lie, right? I am a coach, but because of the business I've had with a coach and without a coach, could have succeeded? Sure, but it would have taken longer. I would have made a lot more mistakes. You know, those shiny object syndrome things pop up all the time. So yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, I agree. High five there to Charlotte. Yeah.
So that is exactly what I explained to my husband when I hired my first coach. As
Yep.
I said to him, I'm like, I could do this myself and fumble around and try to figure it out and make a whole lot of mistakes and then finally wave the white flag, or I could just suck it up and do it
Yep.
now.
Yeah. You got another comment that is
Yeah.
an amazing comment. Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Hi, Lee. Coaches help you look forward and work toward making the imagined
Imagine
possible. Ooh,
possible. Yeah.
yeah. Again, so beautifully put. So,
Right.
all right. So you're down in Houston. You hired your first coach. When did you know coaching was for you, that you would someday be a coach?
I don't know. In the beginning, I thought that I was going to be a coach. I'm a, I got my kids through middle school, through high school, thriving in my real estate business, growing a lot of confidence that I could support myself and them. And then my oldest went to college in California because that's where I'm from. So she went to the University of San Diego. And then my youngest is going to Pepperdine in California. And I'm sitting in Houston all by myself.
Oh,
I went, all my family is in California or Texas. I have a sister that lives in Texas. So I do love going to Austin and visiting with her. So I'm sitting here and it happens. I can remember this like yesterday, even though it wasn't yesterday. She said, Tanya, what do you want for whatever year it was? I don't remember what year, but here it is, like September. We're talking because in the real estate world, October, and in the business world, October is that last quarter is technically the first quarter, right? So what do you want? What do you want to accomplish? And I sat there going, I want to move to California. I don't want to be this far away from my kids. And family is one of my top core values, in case you haven't already guessed. So she's like, well, we can do that. And I'm like, well, how can you do that? I'm licensed, I've been was licensed in California for a while. I was licensed in Florida because my ex was also a corporate trainer for Burger King at that time. Now I'm in Houston. He's gone. So I've been licensed and started my business over 3 times. So I'm going, I don't know if I want to go back and start a business again, all from scratch. I don't know if I have that in me right now. Again, a self-limiting belief, which coaches help you with, right?
Because when you're a realtor and you move locations, it's not like you can bring your clients with you. It's starting over.
Or your license. You gotta even get relicensed every state.
Oof.
Yes. So she says, but we're hiring coaches. And so they recruited me in. So the coaching company is in Carlsbad, California, which is a suburb of San Diego County. And they hired me. They gave me 2 weeks to move. So I jumped. I just leaped, and my kids tease me that I followed them to college because I got one going to college in San Diego, the other one in Malibu, and I'm right here in San Diego now working. And yeah, I did. I followed him to college. So I blame them for becoming a coach.
I
Because if they
love
stayed in Houston, I would have stayed a realtor.
Okay, wait. So they hired you as a coach, but you weren't a coach at this point.
No, they started my training process.
Yeah.
So it took 3 months. So there's 9 of us that trained together. That's a free spirit. Yep. There's 9 of us that trained together. And they didn't need to train me on the real estate bit, right? That was one of the joys of hiring me. And then, yes, plus I've been coached for 7 years. So, Kelly coached me for 7 years. So I kind of got it, right? What it was about. And yeah, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
So what is your favorite part about being a coach?
Watching my clients have aha moments, especially if it's around mindset and what they can do. But crossing that finish line just again and again. Like I have one client who we've been coaching a year, and almost every single listing, not everyone, but almost every single listing she has duplicated, because that's the challenge with me. When you get a listing, I want another one before that one closes. Especially I want one in that same neighborhood, right? And she is rocking it. So that's just watching them get out of debt. So whatever it is that their goals are, and we get there, and we can, we used to be able to hug in person. Well, we can now hug in person again, but for a long time we couldn't. I tried to surprise my client that's in Idaho that was having one of her first client parties, and something came up with my family, so I couldn't go, but I was going to fly in and crash her party. So I still will. It'll just be another one.
I love that. So for people listening who've never done coaching, who've never been coached, what is coaching like? How would you describe it to people? What could folks expect? And I understand every coach is different, but
well, I know what it's not, only because I just had this conversation with one of my clients whose husband said, I don't want to, because she was saying they're partners. And it's like, well, maybe you would like to get on a coach call with Tanya. And I was like, I don't need anybody telling me what to do. I don't tell my clients what to do. That's not coaching.
So you probably have clients who want you to tell them what to do.
Yes. And coaching is getting my clients out of their comfort zone. Coaching is getting anybody that has self-limiting beliefs, which every once in a while, even I do. Right. Every once in a while, that voice inside my head says, Tanya, why are you starting your own business? You're too old. And that voice just creeps in. And I know it's, pardon my language, I know it's bullshit, but it still pops up, and I have to address it. A lot of people don't know how to address it. They believe it. Yeah. So a lot of coaching is not just the mindset, but also knowing, is going to your heart and really believing that you have superpowers. And then customizing that. So since I'm a business coach, right, it's like, okay, what do you want? They'll tell me how many, like with my roofer, I want to make X amount of dollars. And then so that's what we're going on our 2nd year together. Okay, what do you want to make this year? I want to, double it. I'm like, yeah, how about we 5X it? So it's getting them out of their comfort zone, and then customizing a roadmap to get there, because sometimes we just can't see the forest past the trees. Or there's just so many, with realtors, there's so many options. And then what do I do? And I, kind of analyze their personality. Good examples, I coach somebody who has 3 young kids. And then I coach a gentleman who's single, lives alone. They both have the exact same goal, what they want to close and how many homes they want to close. But it's going to be totally different. Their roadmaps are going to be completely different. Yeah, it's not a one size fits all. So it's getting them to their goals, zones.
Yeah. I love what Lee just said. He's sometimes the magic of coaching is simply having someone who believes in you when you don't quite believe in yourself yet. Thank
Yep.
you for that, Lee.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know what? I want to go back to what you said about superpowers, because I know that's a big thing for you.
Yep.
But it's so, I always say if I had a superpower, I would want to see myself um, the way other people see me when I can't see the good in myself.
Hmm.
That's the superpower I've always wanted because it's so hard sometimes, right? We live in
Yep.
this life or this world where we're hustling, we're busy, we're comparing ourselves to other people, even though we know we shouldn't do it.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
and it's so easy to feel like we're not enough. Can you walk through maybe how you help your clients discover their superpowers?
It is really fun. Sometimes it's a guided meditation. Sometimes I'll have them say, well, this is how my coach did it with me. She's like, Tanya, tell me a time when you were super proud of something. Give me something in the past that you did that you thought you couldn't do. Right? So I'm explaining landing an airplane. And I'm talking about how focused I had to be and driven I had to be and tenacious because I was 26 years old. So young, pretty, blonde, learning to fly a plane in Maine in a male dominated field. And my first two flight instructors, when we'd go up flying, first one put his hand on my lap. The second one did everything he could to make me airsick. And then the third one was totally cool. So I'm explaining how I didn't give up. And and then asking questions like, well, how did that feel? And so by the time I'm done telling this wonderful story about how I learned to fly a plane and overcame the challenges of this male dominated field and how I felt when I flew, the words I kept using, like I won't give up, and my drive and my competitiveness, it's like those are your superpowers, right? So the just listening to my clients share something they're proud of and what words they keep using over and over. So maybe somebody might share about their giving spirit. Like you and I have totally different superpowers, right? But I have a client who is like Mother Teresa. She has such a loving, giving spirit. That's her superpower. You'd never say that about me. I mean, I am, but right, you wouldn't hear those words come out when I was talking about learning how to fly a plane. It's like Tanya's drive and her tenacity and her competitiveness is her superpowers. And I can comfortably say that that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's listening to stories. Yeah.
I love that. So I did, for those listening, I did a guided, was it a guided visualization? Is that what you call
Visualization. Yep.
it?
Yep.
With Tanya in a workshop that she did on finding or meeting your inner leader. And Tanya, I love this. So I actually took, I discovered in this that my inner leader is a gardener. And so I took this
Yep.
image that I created and I actually stuck her in the middle of my vision board. So
There
there
you
she
go.
is. And
There she
every day
is.
when I look at my vision board, I'm looking at and connecting with my inner gardener who is patient and she's
Mhm.
nurturing and she knows how to differentiate and give every plant in her garden exactly what they need.
What they
She's
need.
learned to
Yeah.
meet her plants where she's at, and she's learned to do that with her people. Um, because we are not the same every day, and our
No.
best looks different every day. And if we can be compassionate and kind and loving to ourselves, even on our hardest of days, especially on our hardest of days,
Yep.
it matters more than we think.
Okay, so now my heart is full. And when you say why do I coach? Because we did that exercise together and look at the growth around your superpower, your inner leader. That's it. That's all I needed to hear. Good. We mic drop, we can hang up.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, this has been really a gift. And I'm grateful for the coaches that I've had who've helped me just stretch myself in different ways. I was in a coaching call earlier today and it was a Q&A call and she was like, "What's your question?" I was like, "Well, I don't have a question. I just need a pep talk." Like things aren't this thing that I'm trying to do isn't going the direction I want it to go, and I'm really frustrated, and I feel like I'm really far behind this,
Yep.
arbitrary self-imposed deadline I've created for
Correct.
myself.
Yep.
And
Yep.
she just asked the right question. And before I knew it, I was sharing this story. Because she said, "Well, what is your defining moment? What was your defining moment that made you realize that journaling was so important, that it was not like a nice optional thing?" And I was like, "Oh, I know that moment." And I
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever heard this story.
I
My
don't know that I have.
Yeah, my defining moment came the day my husband came home and told me he had finally decided he would be happier not being married to me.
Oh, yes.
Just like
Yes.
that, right? And I I kind of love telling the story because I tell people and their eyes go bing, right?
Yep.
Because like, who actually says that? But yeah, he did. And I was like, "Oh, well, this was unexpected and this is unpleasant because I made a
This doesn't
choice
feel good.
and I was walking down this path, and now all of a sudden you've kicked me off the path, and this isn't good,
Yeah.
right?" And I knew I had this choice to make. I could either allow myself to spiral into negativity, or I could reach out and grab hold of every good thing that came my way. And that's what
Mm.
I chose. And I started with my journal and I made myself write what I was grateful for. And it was really, really hard because
I
I was
bet.
not grateful for very much
Yeah.
in that moment. But I
Right.
came up with 8 things. And I thought if I can be grateful for 8 things on this hardest day of my life, I'm
Yeah.
going to be okay. So for me, journaling is not just like a nice thing to do. It's not something that I do because, like, oh, it's helpful when I get stressed out, or it kind of helps me remember things. Journaling really saved my life.
Yeah.
Journaling helped me come back to myself. Journaling helped me remember who I was, to discover who I was, to decide who I wanted to be and figure out how I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And building a business around it was something that I never dreamed that I would do. So I think it's so interesting how things happen sometimes accidentally on purpose for us.
Yeah. And so I do want to say that I know when I'm coaching my clients and you gifted them, some of your time on journaling. So you were a guest speaker because I have mastermind calls for my clients and we all get together. That I remind them because most of them really loved it. And because right now, who do you want to be in 2024? Well, I don't know. Well, go journal on it. Do you remember well, I don't know how to journal. Yeah, there's no right way. Do you remember what Amanda said? Yes. Okay, go. Right? Who do you want to be? And that being piece is really important before I want their actual business plan.
Yeah.
Right? So do they need to be more organized, more confident, more courageous? And journaling helps so much. So thank you for what you've given to my clients on journaling. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
so happy to do it. Like, I'm a true believer that the world gets to be a little bit better with everyone who starts journaling and who
Yeah.
realizes that journaling is not something you do to check a box, that it's
Mm-mm.
something we do because it helps us really live these beautiful, intentional lives full of
Yeah.
purpose and direction and all the good things.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm going to do a plug real quick. So I know
yeah.
Charlotte has, and I think Charlotte's still here. Charlotte has wonderful workshops she's a lender. And so her preferred realtors will get on a workshop. So, and I know they're doing a goal setting one coming up soon. So Charlotte, I'm going to encourage you, right? Not telling you what to do, is to have them stop. And before they start doing their actual business plan and all that, who do they want to be? Like, what didn't serve them in 2023 and who do they want to be in 2024? Then they'll hopefully find the courage to really plan something wonderful for 2024. Okay, that's it, Charlotte. That was your coaching moment.
I I
Hopefully
love
she's not
it.
kicking me in the butt.
No, I think completely the opposite of a kick in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and adding it to my own plan
Own
too. So
plan
actually,
too.
I'm going to segue there into something exactly along those lines. So I have this journaling membership program called Journaling for Growth, and it is all about using journaling for growth. And it takes the guesswork out of how to do just that. And we journal our way in, around, and through a different topic every month. And starting December 1st, we are doing this really thorough end of year reflection and evaluate and goal setting program. So if anyone is interested, I'm just going to pop the link up here. If you are interested, journalingforgrowth.com/membership. It is a it is an amazing program. You get all of the journal prompts that you need to do this really thorough, effective end of year review and goal setting based on who you want to be, how you want to feel. It is the process I have used for a number of years. This will be the second year I bring a group of people through it. You get the journal prompts, and we also have weekly group journaling calls, which are nothing short of magical. So for anyone listening or watching, whether live or on a replay, I would absolutely love for you to come out and journal with us.
Yeah, I've been on some of your workshops and meditations with Pippa, and they're amazing. They are magical. And I don't know if I'm going to say something that you might need to clip out. And so if I overstep, I apologize. If Charlotte, because she has these workshops, Charlotte, I'd definitely reach out to Amanda and see if she'd, do a workshop for your realtors. And again, if I'm overstepping, just clip this out.
No, you are good. Yeah. Again, the world gets to be a better place with everyone who starts journaling. And I'm, here to do my part to make that happen for sure. So what does your journaling look like these days, Tanya? And how does it help you in your business?
It helps me when I have days like today where I've been so tired. And I don't know why I'm so tired. If it's, like we were saying earlier, it gets dark sooner. It's been a little bit colder. And when I journal, I get centered.
Yeah.
I can access my inner leader, my superpowers. I'm channeling all you guys. I call them my allies, right? Like, okay, my inner allies, let's go. Let's have fun. And it helps me overcome some of the thoughts of when I say, oh, Tanya, you're too old, and I don't know where that came from, that neural pathway that reminds me of my age, probably something in my childhood. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's there. But journal helps me stay centered. It helps me access those inner voices that I need, because March 2024 will be 2 years of having my own business. So I'm a little over a year and a half. So it's been a ride.
Yeah. So let me take a step back and ask the question that I meant to ask. How did you were in the world of coaching realtors. How did you go out on your own? Like, what made that happen?
Well, I was introduced to the Coactive Training Institute and the International Coaching Federation, and I really loved what I learned from them. So I started taking classes. I was a corporate coach in a corporate environment, asked them if they would pay for the training, and I would bring it to the company. What can I do? How can I earn? And they didn't. So I paid for it myself, and I got my certifications. And it took a couple years to get the certifications. It's not like, oh, you want to be a coach, you want to be certified, a month later you have your license. It was a lot of hours and a lot of training. I earned them. I'm so proud of them. And it was corporate. In the corporate world, it just started to change a little bit. And I am pretty free-spirited, and some of the rules that were starting, that were new, didn't resonate. And so I said, oh, this is a crossroad. And again, there was like a voice that says, Tanya, you have a monthly paycheck, you have a 401k, you have health insurance, stay on this road. And you and I both share another friend, right, who says fine is not okay. You know who I'm talking about, right? Yep. This is fine. You can do this for 10 more years and you'll retire. And then there's the fork in the road that says you've owned businesses, you've owned your own real estate company, you can do it. Hire a coach. Right. And that's when I hired Katie. Hire a coach. And I did. And we had a goal for me to leave and give notice about 6 months. when we started coaching. I was like, okay, 6 months. And what are you going to do to prepare and start your LinkedIn? And I think it was 2 months when I said, okay, I'm in. That's just, let's do it. And I can't say it's been easy, but I don't look back and I don't regret a minute of it. I don't.
So, how is coaching similar to owning a flight school? Like, how is owning your own coaching business?
Oh, that's a good question. No one has ever asked me that question,
Ooh,
Amanda.
okay.
Well, owning a business, right? You want to have a marketing plan. You need a business plan. You need to have the right mindset. You need to have I call it a backup band, right? So obviously I'm running a flight school. I'm not doing all the stuff, right? So I hired good flight instructors and I'm teaching the ground school. Same thing with coaching. I didn't have a coach when I ran a flight school. I didn't even know coaches existed back then. I was 24. That's a lot of years ago. I don't know that, that was part of okay, this is really going to age me. There wasn't even an internet or a cell phone, right? So it was different. However, if I did have a coach, I was a successful flight school, had a successful flight school. However, having a coach would have given me more confidence on how to deal with the men that did everything they could to get me to quit. I didn't quit, but I don't know that I handled it with a lot of grace.
Well, I'm sure you handled it with as much grace as any of us could have at 24, 26, however old we
Right.
were. Yeah.
Right. Yes. By then, probably 26, by the time I got my licenses and stuff. Um, I'm wired to be a business owner. I don't like to follow a lot of rules, and that's my DNA. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Just get the right people and get the right backup band.
And that makes the right people makes all the difference. I think
Yeah.
about the people in my life who I know I can go to support me in my business. And it isn't always the people I think it's going to be. It
Right.
isn't like I love my mother. I stream to Facebook every time I go live so she can forget to watch it. If you're watching, hi, Mom. I love you
Yep.
very much. And also, I have to remember when I talk to my mom about my business that anxiety is her flavor of love.
Yep.
And
Mine too. Yes, mine too. I love my mom. She's a big supporter, but every once in a while, if I'm having one of those tired days and what am I thinking? Am I really too old for this? Well, just go back and get your corporate job.
yeah.
Right. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to hear. Nah.
Right. But then having a team of people who are doing similar things. I know if I was having a really hard day, right? I could call you, hey, Tanya, I feel stuck today. And you're like, cool. Like that was me last Tuesday. Like, let's talk about it. Right. Like
Yeah.
having people in our world who really understand what it's like to take risks, what it's like to do something a little different.
And
Makes
it's
all the difference.
lonely. I mean, well, my kids are grown. They're out of the house. I don't know if you know, Amanda. I don't know if you, because I haven't been talking much about it. Because my kids are very shy and not outward about, like, please don't post about my granddaughters. Like, I have to get permission. And I understand that. I totally respect it. My youngest, who is 25, announced a few months ago she's pregnant. So grandbaby number 2 is coming. That's a big part of my world. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And if I was a corporate coach with that one corporation, I wouldn't be allowed to travel as much as I travel. Having my own business, I can coach from anywhere, and I do. My other daughter lives in Oregon, and I go and set very clear boundaries. When the door is shut, nobody knocks on it. I'm coaching. It works really well. However, in the corporate world, I wouldn't have that flexibility.
Yeah. And that flexibility can mean the difference between living a life that is completely authentic and us and doing just fine.
Yeah, I like Lee's comment. I don't know if it's to me or to you, but
Yeah.
we all have similar moms.
Yeah.
They're well-meaning, right?
They are, and they're wonderful. And I
Yeah.
try really hard with my own kids who are 21, almost 19 and 16 to make sure I really as much as possible. Um,
You've not seen all the holes on my tongue lately, have
yeah.
you?
Yeah, actually, it was funny. I was on a call earlier today, and the coach's little person like popped in, and she was like, I'm so sorry. I just have this 6-year-old who's trying to get my attention," and she, muted herself for a minute, and I was like, "That's totally okay," because I had a
Yep.
21-year-old in my space a couple of weeks ago doing the exact same
Exact
thing. I'm
same
on
thing.
a call, and he's like,
Yeah.
"But I just need this really important thing." And I look at the note he's scribbling. It's like, "Can I, eat the taco meat in the fridge?" Like, yes. Yes, you may. Like, thank you for asking, but
Asking.
also, like, you could just go eat the taco meat from the
That's
fridge
right.
or
We won't
whatever
starve
it
in this house.
is. Yeah. Nice. Uh,
Amanda says Tanya knows I can relate. So
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Amanda has little ones that are the most adorable. Talk about superpowers with her children. One has such creativity and the other one has such strong attitude. And we were talking about the middle one because I don't know her as well. But yes, they keep her hopping.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do that. All right. So um, if there are a few words of encouragement you can give to anyone listening or watching who's like, oh, maybe I want to have my own business. Maybe I am entrepreneurial. Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to find a coach. I mean, I'm sure that's an obvious answer. Group coaching, one-to-one coaching, a workshop, because there is a lot to being a business owner. There's a lot to even I've coached some people for years. My longest client, we just celebrated 7 years, and I've got anywhere from 1 year up to 7 years of coaching, and they still, the difference between a business plan and a marketing plan and a budget. It's very pragmatic stuff around starting a business, and that'll help with confidence when you have somebody, a mentor.
Yeah.
Somebody, it doesn't have to be a coach, it could be a mentor, but somebody to kind of go alongside to help with a lot less bumps and bruises. And if you want to do it, look at your budget. If you're in a corporate world right now and you want to start your own business, I spent about 2 years knowing I was going to be quitting that job. And I put money aside. I wanted to make sure that if I did not have a single coaching client for 1 year, I could pay my bills. So that was my first goal, was to make sure I had that amount of money saved. Again, being single and not having extra income. Then I hired a coach. And then it was like, okay, 6 months, you're going to leap, Tanya. And then it was like 2 months. Okay, I want to leap now, but don't be shy to ask for help. Maybe that's the sentence I really want to say is, it's scary. It can be lonely. There's a lot of shiny objects out there to draw you in. Spend money on this, spend money on that, do LinkedIn, do Facebook, do Instagram. Have somebody that's going to help.
Yeah. So if people want to work with you, how do they do it? How do they get a hold of you? How do they find you? What's your process like?
Well, fortunately, my last name's pretty unusual, so it's not hard to find me on Google, right? So Google, TanyaBugbee.com is my website. So I am on LinkedIn. I do have a Facebook page, a little bit on Instagram. LinkedIn's my jam right now. Reach out. We'll discover if we're a good match. You might not like my pragmatism. I am very direct. Right. If you need somebody very soft and handholdy and, very heart centered, I might not be the right coach. So I'm not shy about that. When I was in the corporate world, one of the owners said, Tanya, you come with a warning sign. Because I'm going to tell you how it is. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to get to work. We're going to get it done. And a lot of people need that accountability. And that's who I coach for year after year after year. We get it done. So we'll find out if we're a match. Just email me, call me, smoke signal me. We'll talk. We'll decide if it's a good match or not. And I do coach a lot. I do coach a lot of realtors because of my history with the company in San Diego that is a real estate coaching and training company. However, I do have a roofer, I have an attorney, I have some corporate clients in Fortune 500 companies. I do, because of my certifications, can do more than only realtors. I have my others. I love my others.
I love that. So you don't have to be a realtor to work with you.
Nope.
Awesome.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Like my roofer. I mean, with realtors, I can help with the training, right? Because I've been one or was one for so many years. I'm not going to tell my roofer how to build a roof, but I promise you he's doubled his business. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
with me.
It was
My
fun.
friends who were listening and watching, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. And journal.